Am I the asshole for the strict schedule one have my kids on? It's summertime, so while mom and I work, our 3 kids are at home, ages between 8–15. We were talking with other parents about what our kids do during the day, and some friends were shocked that I was being so strict during summer break. Here's why. They have to do chores every day. Chores include clean bathroom, bedrooms, playroom, and any dishes. Basically pick up after themselves Monday. Wash, fold, put up their laundry Tuesday. Sweep and vacuum Wednesday. Mow and weed eat Thursday. Nothing extra Friday. Sweep and vacuum. Mon fry. They wake up and run 1 mile and have 15 minutes to do it. If they don't make it in 15 minutes, nothing happens. I'm just giving them a very achievable goal. Electronics are turned off at 12:30 until we get home from work around 4:30. We have a pool and they have so many toys. They have things to do that don't include electronics. They have to complete the chores by 4:30, so they spend the morning playing Xbox or watching TV, eat lunch, then they do chores and entertain themselves. I don't want my kids just sitting in front of a screen all day because it's not healthy. Being forced to use your imagination isn't a bad thing as far as I'm concerned. I want them to run because they all play sports and they get gassed out rather quickly. This is the first summer we've done the mile thing, and I'm hoping it helps once fall sports starts. I'm just trying to equip my kids the best way I know how. Other parents had made comments about how summer break is all about relaxing and getting to take a break from responsibilities. All fun. I felt conflicted. So am I the asshole? Edit. This was the exact response I expected. I showed my kids this thread too. They said they spend 30 minutes on chores most days and 15 minutes running. The 15Y relaxes most of the day and said the only time he feels like a parent is when the younger 2 fight and he has to break them up. 90% of the day is playing and 10% is work. They don't swim unless they are all together. They are literally learning to clean up after themselves. If they make a mess, it's cleaned up. I'm glad so many of you are in the financial situation to afford nannies, summer camps, days care, etc. But that ain't us. We work together. When mom and dad are home, we chores too, and on weekends we all play together. Sorry, are you running an army unit or a family? And you are leaving them all home alone? This is horribly unfair to your 15-year-old. You can equip them by not forcing them to be in charge of each other, providing supervision in the form of summer activities, and allow them to be children. You are the asshole. Edit. To add, I just noticed your comment about the pool. You are leaving a 15-year-old in charge of siblings as young as 8 and suggest they go swimming? Someone should call CPS and maybe it will be your 15-year-old. I don't know if you're the asshole, but I would hate to have you as a parent. You are the asshole running a mile every weekday morning and the youngest is 8. I get the picking up after themselves, but holy buckets, this is a little extreme. You are the asshole because you're forcing a 15-year-old to manage the house alone for 8+ hours a day. First of all, that's too much. If they need exercise, put them a summer sports program. A forced run first thing in the morning sounds miserable. Like the worst gym class ever, yikes. Unsupervised children and a pool, what possibly could go wrong? You are the asshole. If only for leaving the 15-year-old in charge. That is completely unfair, especially having a swimming pool that they access while you are not there. That is a recipe for disaster. As far as the exercise, find something they enjoy doing for exercise, dancing to a YouTube video, etc. What is the reasoning you give them for the exercise? Please don't tell them it has anything to do with obesity. Am I the asshole for bringing eggs to a vegan wedding? I realize from the title I probably immediately sound like the asshole, but hear me out. So my 21F brother, 26M, got married last weekend. He and my new Sil, 26F, had known each other for a few years now, and naturally I was invited to the wedding. She had been vegan since she was 12 and had also converted my brother in recent years, so they decided to make the wedding vegan. Basically, this meant that all the catering was vegan food, even the alcohol, and they used petals from their garden instead of plastic confetti and things like that to make the wedding as eco-friendly as possible. I have no problem with any of this and think it's great. Anyway, the problem is this. The issue I often have with eating anywhere is that I have multiple allergies. Peanuts, soy, sesame, and a mild shellfish allergy as well. The first 3 I named are very serious and have landed me in hospital in the past because of cross-contamination, so I'm really weary. I talked to my brother about if there would be anything safe for me to eat at the event, but because they're using a local neighborhood ladies' business as the catering service instead of something professional, I did not feel comfortable enough that there was absolutely zero chance of me having a reaction, especially because the allergens were ingredients in many of the dishes. It felt too risky, so I said I'd bring my own food and he agreed that was the best option. I've done this with plenty of such events in the past and it's never been a problem. The wedding day arrives and it comes time to eat. Everyone is digging into the food, and I pull out my Tupperware quite happily and dig in when I see the bride staring at me with horror on her face. I had bought a homemade sort of salad box which had 2 eggs on top and she literally just stared at me in disgust the entire time we ate without saying anything. After the meal is finished, she pulled me to the side and said I ruined her meal and her appetite, and ruined her day, and that I'm clearly a selfish person because I can't even go one meal without animal secretions in a vegan wedding, and that it was seriously disrespectful because the fact it was a vegan wedding was the main focus. In my eyes, I bought my own food because they weren't able to provide me with something which was safe to eat, and it's not like I brought a steak. I had 2 eggs in a big salad and she must have been specifically staring at my food to even realize they were there. However, I'm beginning to wonder if I'm the asshole because my brother also said it was in poor taste and I should have brought something else. So what are your thoughts? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. While I understand having dietary restrictions and it being her day, you have unavoidable dietary restrictions, in that you are severely allergic to some foods, some of which were listed in the ingredients. You talked it out and got permission to bring your own food. You did your due diligence. From there, it is the responsibility of your brother to mention to his new wife what is going on. Not the asshole, not remotely. Sorry, the focus of her wedding was veganism? Not that she was making a commitment to the person she loves? She's an ass for that comment alone. But you're not the asshole. If they were unable to cater for you, they have no right to take offense of what you made yourself. Not the asshole. Your brother seems like he dropped the ball, though. His wife seems pretty overbearing and he should have spoken up. If there were going to be limitations on what you could bring, he should have said something in advance. You were not in the wrong for bringing your own meal. Not the asshole. Were there guidelines or restrictions on the food you were allowed to bring? Were you made aware of them? Was anaphylactic shock preferable to eggs? The bridezilla was looking to make an issue. No matter what you did, she would have had a problem. It sucks to suck. You shouldn't have brought eggs to a vegan wedding. I'm sure you could have found something vegan you were comfortable with eating. On the other hand, she was acting like you slaughtered a cow and ate it raw right on her wedding dining table. It was a bit dramatic. If seeing a person eating 2 eggs ruins her day, I don't know how she gets through life, goes to restaurants, watches movies or TV, literally anything without being angry all the time. Bro was right, poor taste is the right classification, but ruined her day is way overblown. Having said that, I imagine vegans will disagree and say you are the asshole and provide their point of view. This will be a fun one, lol. Unpopular, but you are the asshole. Really easy to bring something vegan to eat. Should have been obvious that a loudly vegan wedding wouldn't want animal products at it and would have been the courteous and sensitive thing to do. Also, cold hard-boiled eggs stink of cold hard-boiled eggs. Am I the asshole for uninviting my gay brother and his boyfriend to my wedding? I, 36M. I'm getting married to my soon-to-be wife, 34F. Everything was going great and we were giving out invitations. When I gave one to my brother, Sam, he asked if he could bring his, 22M, boyfriend to the wedding. I was immediately super fond of the idea as Jack, his BF, and I are both very fairly close. About a week after Sam sent a picture of what he was going to be wearing to the wedding in the wedding group chat, it was a rainbow tuxedo. Initially I thought he was joking, so I said, LMAO, he was very hurt and told me to go fuck myself. He has always been quite feminine in his clothing choices, which I am completely okay with, but me and my soon-to-be wife both thought that what he wanted to wear was inappropriate and would take the attention away from my wife and me. So I told him that him and his boyfriend were both uninvited from our wedding. He told me that the only reason that I didn't want him there was because I was homophobic. I am very much not homophobic. I go to pride marches and have never had any problem with him being gay. Most of our family agrees with my decision. But some are refusing to come to the wedding now. So am I the asshole? Edit. Some things I forgot to include in the original post are. Yes, I did explain to him why this made us uncomfortable, but he kept pulling the just being homophobic card on my and me soon-to-be wife. Also on the invitation was a dress code saying black and white only. Update 1. I took some of your guys' advice and I had a long conversation with my brother's boyfriend. His boyfriend does not want to make a big thing of this and neither do I. It turns out my brother has been in a really bad place recently and got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. That is why he flipped at me and made a big deal out of this. I feel like such an asshole about this whole situation and so does my soon-to-be wife. My brother and his boyfriend are not coming to the wedding due to the state my brother is in now. This was his boyfriend who decided that they should not come to the wedding. After learning all of the stuff I know now about my brother, I wish I would have let him wear the tux. I feel like complete shit for causing him to go into a mental episode. And I have told his boyfriend that my brother can wear whatever he wants to the wedding, but they do not want to come. Not because of the situation but because my brother isn't doing very well at the moment, but things could change. That was my first update and I will update you all again soon. Not the asshole. A rainbow tuxedo? Seriously? Yes, that would take attention away from the bride and you. He is pulling the gay card in order to strong-arm you into letting him wear that to the wedding. As to the people who are refusing to come to the wedding now, send them a picture of the rainbow tuxedo and then see what they have to say. However, did you give him the option of still coming to the wedding but not wearing that tuxedo? Not the asshole. I would feel the same. Did you explain this to them? Not the asshole. That's your day. He's butt hurt because he couldn't wear what he wanted. When he gets married, he can wear his rainbow tux. I suggest you reconcile with him and work something out. It's a big day to uninvite your brother over something silly that can easily be fixed. Not the asshole. He made it clear that he was going to use your wedding to make a statement. This is not the venue for that and would be very inappropriate. Not the asshole. You did what was right. I'm bisexual, and I still don't understand how he would think that's okay? He would stick out like a sore thumb. Info. Who is this versus? Who is your brother trying to stick it to? I'm having a hard time coming up with a good reason to want to peacock that hard at your own bro's wedding. Am I the asshole for not wanting a relationship with my father? I really don't know how to start this, since this is my first post ever. So I am sorry for dumping my whole backstory on you guys. Also, I am dyslexic, so sorry for any mistakes. When my 33 dad was 15, he got his 14-year-old girlfriend pregnant. My paternal grandparents forced them to have the baby. My mother gave up her rights and her family moved away. To be fair to my dad, having me ruined his teen years. My grandparents forced him to take care of me if he wasn't in school, so he didn't have a life. Then they held his college fund hostage to make him attend a school he could commute to. When he graduated, he ran to the other side of the country and went LC. What that meant is that I had a dad until I was 7. I remember having a dad and calling him dad. And even if he wasn't the best, he was there. But after that it was like he didn't exist. He met a woman, got married. I was the only kid in the family not invited. That hurt. Then he had kids and they would have family trips and stuff like that. I wasn't even allowed to call him dad by then. When I left my grandparents' home for college, we went NC mainly because neither of us bothered to keep in contact. And I admit I hated him by then. In these last 15 years we only met twice, the funerals of my grandparents. They split their estate between us, he bought me out of the house and that was that. About 10 months ago or so he added me on FB, then he called me out of the blue to chat. Then he asked me to bring my family, wife and 2 kids, to meet the family and spend the holidays. I was weirded out. He is practically a stranger, and said we will be spending it with the in-laws. It has been the same with him calling and me picking up 1/10 times. He called again 3 weeks ago to invite us for 4th of July, I declined again. He was upset. I posted some pics from my in-laws' cookout in Facebook and he called me. He was very upset and maybe even crying. He said he just wanted to have a relationship with his eldest son and that it hurt that I was so against it. I didn't know what to say except, I prefer the relationship we have now. But now I am feeling bad. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. He was his own priority when he chose not to see you much for 15 years, and now it's time for you to prioritize yourself and what's best for you. Not the asshole. I cannot say for sure, but there has to be some kind of ulterior motive, right? No one can have a kid, leave the kid first chance they get, ignore them for 15 years, and then suddenly want that kid to build a relationship with them. Something about this isn't right. Not the asshole. Text him this. Name, remember when I was 7 how you moved across the country and wrote me off, not only as your kid but as a person. Remember how I wasn't allowed to call you dad? Remember how I wasn't invited to your wedding or to be part of your new family yet I got to hear about how you were a dad to your other kids? I'm sorry your feelings are hurt, but calling me your eldest son after choosing not to participate in my life until you friended me on Facebook a few months ago, until it was convenient for you, is not helpful. Let's start slowly and maybe get coffee together and talk. But for the foreseeable future, holidays will be spent with my family. Not the asshole, but honestly neither is your dad. The assholes in this story are your grandparents. They forced a 14-year-old girl to give birth and then ruined their son's life in the process. I totally understand why he left. He was held hostage by you for 7 years. That being said, although I think that's a good reason for leaving, it's not an excuse, and you don't have to allow him back into your life in a meaningful way if you don't want to. He may genuinely want to have a relationship with you, which would be understandable. The only problem is, he made the choice to bail. And then to have the wedding and trips and not invite his oldest child? It sounds like he chose who he considers his real family, too. It's not realistic of him to just expect you to be okay with the idea of building a relationship when he made it a point to act as though you don't exist. Not the asshole. Not the asshole that is some scary crap. How did he think you were going to think you would respond after being ghosted so long? Is he dying?